We're often told that our biggest health problems, things like heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, are all these separate individual battles we have to fight. But what if there's a secret origin story that connects them all? A story that starts in a really surprising place, your gut.
I mean, just think about the major health challenges of our time. We tend to look at each one in its own little box, right? Each with its own unique causes, its own set of treatments.
But what if we're missing the bigger picture? What if all these seemingly unrelated conditions are really just different chapters of the same book? A book that starts in one single, unexpected place.
To figure this out, we've got to look inward. Deep inside all of us, there's this incredibly powerful gatekeeper standing guard of our health, and that gatekeeper is our gut. Now, when we talk about the gut, we're talking about something on an almost unbelievable scale. This is not just a few helpful little bugs. The gut microbiome is a bustling metropolis of trillions of microorganisms. It's this vast, complex world living right inside of you.
And this internal ecosystem isn't just hanging out, it's actively working for you. I mean, sure, it helps you digest your food, but it also trains your immune system, it communicates with your brain, and this is absolutely crucial, it maintains the strength of the gut wall itself. It really is a true partner in your health.
But here's the problem. This vital gatekeeper, this incredible internal partner, is under constant attack. It's basically living through a modern-day siege. So, the first wave of that attack, it often comes from what's on our plates. These modern processed diets, high in fats and refined carbs, are usually super low in the one thing our good gut microbes need to survive, fiber. And without it, they basically starve, and the gut's defenses start to crumble. And it's not just what's missing, it's also what's added. Hidden attackers like emulsifiers, which are super common in processed foods, can directly mess with our gut bacteria and literally increase the permeability or the leakiness of our gut lining. Then you've got lifestyle factors. Alcohol, for instance, can directly damage the cells of your gut lining. But get this, both alcohol and poor sleep can throw your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, completely out of whack. And it turns out, that rhythm is essential for repairing and regulating your gut barrier every single day. The siege also comes from our environment, from these invisible toxins that are all around us. We're talking about pesticides on our food and even microplastics that are now found pretty much everywhere. These things can have a huge impact, changing the very makeup of our essential gut bacteria. So, with all these attackers laying siege to our gut, day in and day out, what happens when that wall finally starts to break down? Well, this is where the story takes a really critical turn.
Okay, so there's a big scientific name for this. Metabolic endotoxemia. Yeah, I know, it's a mouthful. But it's just the clinical way of saying leaky gut. And it means exactly what it sounds like. Toxins from inside your gut are leaking out into your bloodstream, where they absolutely do not belong.
And the main villain in this whole story has a name, lipopolysaccharide, or LPS for short. This stuff is part of the outer wall of certain bacteria. Think of it like a giant red flag. As long as it stays inside the gut, it's fine. But the second it escapes into your circulation, your immune system sees that red flag and sounds a massive body-wide inflammatory alarm. So it all happens in this critical three-step sequence. First, those modern stressors we just talked about damage the gut wall. Second, these endotoxins, like LPS, slip through the cracks. And third, your immune system spots these invaders and triggers a widespread, low-level inflammatory response. And the stakes here are unbelievably high. As one source puts it, this process triggers a whole cascade of events that can contribute to basically every chronic disease we know of. That is a powerful, powerful statement about a process happening silently inside so many of us. You can think of this widespread, low-level inflammation as a kind of silent fire, just smoldering away throughout your body's tissues and organs. Now, it's really important to get this straight. This is not the kind of inflammation you're used to, like the helpful swelling you get with a sprained ankle. Nope. This is a chronic, low-grade fire that, over years and even decades, just slowly damages cells, messes up communication between systems, and wears our bodies down. And the scientific evidence linking this inflammation back to the gut, it is getting stronger every single day. Researchers are finding these direct connections. For example, in patients with rheumatoid arthritis, they see a really clear pattern, an increase in certain inflammatory bacteria and a decrease in the good guys that protect the gut. And we see similar imbalances in things like type 1 diabetes and inflammatory bowel disease. The patterns are right there.
And here's what makes this so dangerous. It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. That silent fire of inflammation, it causes more damage to the gut wall, which then allows more toxins to leak out, which, you guessed it, just fuels an even bigger fire. It's a vicious loop that can be really hard to break.
But listen, this is not a hopeless situation. We can absolutely fight back against the siege. We can rebuild our defenses. And it all starts, once again, right back in the gut.
So first things first, we need to supply our troops. That means prebiotics. Think of these as the fuel. They're special types of fiber you find in foods like oats and vegetables that our good gut bacteria absolutely love to eat. When they're well fed, they thrive and they produce compounds that strengthen that gut wall.
Next up, we can call in reinforcements. That's where probiotics come in. These are the friends, live, beneficial bacteria that you can get from fermented foods or supplements. They can help repopulate the gut with the good guys, restoring balance and crowding out the troublemakers.
And now, scientists are getting really excited about postbiotics. So these aren't the bacteria themselves, but they're the incredibly valuable things the bacteria make, the finished products from their little metabolic factories. These compounds directly support the health of our gut cells and help put out that silent fire of inflammation.
So, when you put this all together, it really leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? As we uncover this deep, fundamental connection between our gut, inflammation, and chronic disease, you have to wonder, is the future of our health found not just in a pharmacy, but right on our own dinner plate? Thanks for joining me.